Welcome, everyone. This is Fools of Engagement, our very first podcast. This is the podcast that you can play along with. And I am Mr. Scutt, or Ryan Scutt, and I'm one of the hosts for today's podcast.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm the other host, co-host, if you will, and I'm excited to be here.
Very cool, and welcome. So what we're going to go through today is a few fun segments. The first one is Which Would You Rather, followed by Name That Blank, and then we're going to have some mind-blowing facts for you. So stay tuned until the very end of the podcast for those mind-blowing facts. Otherwise, you won't get to hear those. So here we go. Starting right off with the good stuff. Which would you rather? This one's going to take some thought. You might not even have a good answer for it. Would you rather eat nothing but pizza for a year or go a year without pizza?
That's an interesting question for me because I don't eat any gluten. So they make some great gluten-free pizzas, which I enjoy very much. But pizza and donuts are the two things that I miss most about having a gluten-free diet. And the substitutes that they have just don't compare. So I wish that I could go and eat nothing but pizza for a year, but there's no way. So I think I'm going to choose go a year without pizza.
It sounds like you've already gone a year without true pizza. I don't think the cauliflower stuff counts. I think it probably could, but I don't know. I mean, I think that's pretty tricky because people are like, too much of a good thing is usually pretty like kind of sickening after a while. So if you have pizza every day, I think even after a week, you're like, all right. So I probably would go a year without pizza, and then I might go a year with pizza to celebrate once that's over, when it might turn into just a week or so. All right. So would you rather be the most intelligent person in the world or the richest?
The question might be, could you buy intelligence if you were rich enough to do it?
Or if you were intelligent, could you figure out a way to become very, very rich?
I'm sure you could. So
Yeah,
I would go with intelligence.
I think so too. And no one really likes Jeff Bezos and all those guys anyway. So like, would you really want to be the least liked person, but the richest? Probably not.
More money, more problems.
Seriously. Yeah, I hear you. I think there's fact to that too, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this one is getting kind of fun here. Would you rather have legs as short as fingers or fingers as long as legs, one or the other?
Yeah, I find it hard to imagine. I was thinking about this one before because you sent me this question. I was wondering how I would manipulate my body with legs that were that tiny. If my legs were the size of fingers, I really don't feel like I could do much. So I would go with fingers as long as legs, but it would really take a lot of care to make sure that you don't trip over your fingers or break your fingers and do that. So have you ever seen that guy that has like the longest fingernails?
They're all brown and curly. Yeah.
You just have to be going around like that all the time.
Yeah, like almost like Edward Scissorhands. Then you wonder, like, do you have the same number of joints, or do you have are the joints the same length and you just have a bunch of them if they're really, really long? But I was thinking if you had both, that might be kind of cool because you could use your fingers, you could build them up really strong and use those as legs and probably go really fast, like a creepy spider or something.
Oh yeah. Or if your legs were only as long as fingers, but do you have 10 legs?
That's a good question, man. Maybe when we go to the mind-blowing facts, I wonder if someone's got that situation happening and we can find out. So another one that's a little more, maybe it's a little deeper, right? We could analyze this one. Would you rather have horrible short-term memory or horrible long-term memory?
Well, I think I already have pretty horrible short-term memory, so I know what that's like.
Wait, did you just say something I can't remember?
Exactly. Did I? I'm not sure.
What were we talking about?
This is very much like deja vu. Yeah, I would say horrible short-term memory, though, is in fact better because once something's in there, then, although how would you get a long-term
Yep.
memory. Yeah.
I was
Chicken
thinking
and
the
the
same
egg.
exact thing. Yeah. So maybe we'll kind of skip over this, but I just want to say it for those at home who are playing along. Feel free to think about this one. You can even write it in the chat or the comments. So, would you rather have teeth on your hands or a bunch of tiny hands as teeth? that's that's a little weird, huh? Bunch of
Yeah.
little tiny. Uh, but we're gonna kind of we'll talk a little more about this one. Be able to run 100 miles per hour or fly 10 miles per hour.
I definitely think fly. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's not bad. 10 miles per hour. That's like probably a good sprint, right?
yeah, but even just the ability to fly, that's just something that I've always wanted to experience is, and not in an airplane, obviously, but just
Yep.
real flight is, humans have always wanted to do that, I think.
And you wouldn't need a parachute. I mean, you wouldn't anyway. I guess if you could fly, you could land. But it's like, all right, I'm gonna fly to California. See you in 2 weeks, or maybe longer. I don't know.
Yeah.
We have to move on to the next segment,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But this one I think is kind of fun. It might be a little easy for some, but hopefully we're not dating ourselves here with some of these slogans. So we're going to name a slogan. And this is kind of the brand or company theme. Name a slogan, and we have to figure out if we can get the company that goes with it or the product. So, start off with an easy one for some of us. It might not be used anymore. I don't even know. Just do it.
That would be Nike.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that was kind of clever. Lately, I'm like, oh, I don't feel like going for a run. Just do it. You know, I tell myself that. I'm like, geez, they were ahead of their time on this because now running's really popular. They've been saying this since like the 80s when I don't think running was as popular. So that's just a good example, though.
And they were
Breakfast.
early in the branding, that they
Yep.
would, Nike was one of the companies that really started putting a lot of money into branding and the whole Nike swoosh thing, that
Oh yeah.
to use that symbol instead of the name so that
And
you would just
worldwide.
associate. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's been a worldwide success for brand recognition. I mean,
Yep.
with that swoosh, you could see that thing from when someone's running like a quarter mile away. As long as you can see them, you can see the logo on that, like the big hoodie or shirt
Yeah.
that people wear when they run, for example. It was definitely it's a great campaign. So they're running strong, probably one of the bigger clothing companies. How about Breakfast of Champions? Do you know which item that refers to? Kind of on the
Uh,
sports theme here.
yeah. I want to say that it's Wheaties.
It is.
Okay.
And they used to, I don't know if they still do, but they used to put the like Olympians on the
Right.
cover. So you'd see like an Olympian with a Nike shirt, just kidding, kind of running, sprinting towards the front of the box. Look, they were pretty cool labels.
Oh, yeah.
How about this one? Bet you can't eat just one, switching to the unhealthier stuff.
Oh, Lay's potato chips.
It is. I mean, that is true though. Like I think they build the product for binging, and that's way before binging Netflix. So like it's salty, it's fried, it's crunchy, it's got good flavor, and it's in a bag with tons of it, right? So,
Or a tube.
oh yeah, with Pringles even.
Oh, that's what. Okay, because
I
that's
think
what I was
Lay's does
thinking.
that too.
Your Lay's. I said Lay's, which is good, but I was thinking of the can in my head, but that one is once you pop, you can't stop.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So that's actually, I wonder who piggybacked off the other, huh? It's kind of fun. So I think, so we have a whole list of these, but most of them we'd probably get. I think maybe we'll do one more. Think outside the bun. I think that's a pretty clever slogan. Do you know what company that refers to?
Uh,
Think
I do
outside the
not.
bun.
No, I don't know that one.
I think it's Taco Bell. I'm pretty sure it's Taco Bell because it's like
Oh,
fast food like Burger King and McDonald's,
yep.
but they don't really use a bun. But our Taco Bell is connected to the KFC, so I think they have sandwiches with buns, so that's kind of funny. And one closes before the other one, so at one point you can only
Really?
get tacos, but you can't get chicken. Yeah. You're like, "Oh, and I'll also get some crispy chicken." Nope, sorry. That's a bummer, right?
That half of
So
my personality is closed right now.
I know, seriously, it's like, I'm tired. I'm gonna shut this down. And they haven't, I've heard, I don't know if it's true, but if you apply, you have to apply to one company or the other. But I think you'll end up potentially working making tacos or chicken.
I
I don't know if
just,
that
so
part's true.
you've come up with a whole lot of these slogans,
Yep.
which is awesome. So if people are playing along, there's a ton of these to do.
For those who are watching the podcast rather than just listening, we're going to end today with just a few mind-blowing facts as promised. So we're going to talk about glaciers. We're kind of covering some academic subjects here, including marketing, right? So glaciers and ice sheets, so sheets of ice in the Arctic, for example, hold almost 70% of the world's fresh water. So notice it's fresh water because the water is what freezes and the salt is left behind. I think that's right. Don't quiz me on that. But so well over half of the world's water is frozen. So that's kind of interesting.
Well, and also the precipitation, like if you think about an ice sheet, like Antarctica, the precipitation doesn't come from the saltwater ocean surrounding it. It comes from the precipitation falling on the sheet itself.
And then that freezes further. So it's either snow or ice, in the form of rain. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, because the clouds are not salty. I've been in the clouds and they're not salty, I can tell you that. The fastest gust of wind ever recorded on Earth was 253 miles per hour. So I think faster than NASCAR, than your typical run on NASCAR. I think they can reach pretty high speeds. But so the cool thing is the record was held on Mount Washington, just our neighboring state in Vermont, or, from Vermont and New Hampshire. But it was broken more recently. Where was that? It was in 1996 off the coast of Australia. It was broken. So 253 miles per hour. We'll probably wrap up with one more mind-blowing fact.
If you ever do get a chance to go to the top of Mount Washington, I would really recommend it because the cabin, the weather observation cabin that's on the top is actually chained down by these huge chains that are driven into the rock, and to keep the cabin there, because the wind blows so hard it would just blow it right away if it didn't have those chains protecting it.
That'd be freaky. It's common there for wind to be sustained at over 100 miles per hour. So I don't think I'd want to just be standing out there casually eating a sandwich or anything. So one more fact. This is kind of for those who have like a traveling spirit. Hopefully some travel bans will be lifted and you can go take a nice trip. But the best place in the world to see rainbows is in Hawaii. So you'll see rainbows all the time, waterfalls. You'll see them kind of in the distance, but they're very common there. And I guess they're very bright, very vibrant. So I think those are some fun facts. There's a lot more here. This list here from Best Life Online has, I don't know, it was 60 interesting facts. So we don't possibly have time for them all, but we could share the link so that people can take a look.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I also think that you and I should probably plan our trip to Hawaii.
I think it's already booked.
Perfect.
Well, on that note, thank you everyone for listening. We had some fun conversations, some great facts. Hopefully you learned a little bit and got some stuff or got something out of this. So thanks for listening and have a good day.
Have a great day, everybody.